Hello, Sociology. Today, the second day of online learning. It's gonna be pretty short and easy. I'm gonna have you take a quiz. It's a not for grade quiz, like a personality quiz sort of, but it's called Locus of Control, which you've probably never heard of because no one has, unless you have. But there's a link that I'm gonna send you to. It'll say enter your name. You don't have to. You say whatever you want. Doesn't matter. And then it will ask you 13 questions. Once you just answer the questions, and it will pop out a score. I'm just going to do the first one on everything. And your score will be from 0 to 13. So there is a 4. At the low end of the score, so let me pop up Microsoft Paint here. At the low end of the score, and I'll explain what this all means here in a second. At the low end of the score, so like a 0 would be extremely internal, a 13 would be as external as you can get, which means a 6 would be in the middle, 6 or 7, a 3 is 3 or 4, somewhere in there. I guess I could just that makes a lot more sense. So if your score is like 7, 8, 6, 7, 8, 9, somewhere in there, it's in between. If you're on the low side, you have an internal locus control. If you have a high side, you have an external locus control. Go ahead and pause this video, and I want you to take the test, and you will get a score. So pause the video and come back once you have your number. Once you have your number, I want you to kind of guess what it's even about. Usually some people in the class were able to make a guess as to what locus control even means based on the questions, but it's basically if you think that you are in control of what happens to you in your life, or if you think that outside circumstances or luck are in control. So someone with an external locus of control would think that luck or factors outside of your control are the main thing that determines what happens to you, and someone with an internal locus of control would think, I'm in control. Someone with an internal locus control would believe stuff like, for the most part, with some exceptions, but good things happen to good people, bad things happen to bad people. If you really try in this life, you will succeed. If you work hard in class, you'll get good grades. If you get good grades, you'll get into a good college. If you go to a good college and try hard, you'll get a good job. If you're nice to people, you'll have friends. If you're nice to your significant other, you'll have a good wife or husband or whatever. But for the most part, try and you're rewarded. Which of course isn't always true. On the other side, an external belief system would be something like, sometimes bad things happen to good people, sometimes good things happen to bad people. More important than trying in this life is often who you know. It's about who you know and being in the right place at the right time, that kind of thing. And often in school you can try really hard and study really hard and still fail a test. Or sometimes you don't study at all and you get 100 on a test. These would be things that people with an external locus control would believe. Sometimes your girlfriend, boyfriend dumps you for no reason. It's not in your control. Sometimes just bad things happen. It's just luck. Some people are lucky, some people are unlucky. And then there's people that are in between. So I want you to take that test today, and you'll get your number, and it'll fall somewhere in here. And then I want you to answer these questions. And that would be, well, your name. What does locus of control measure? What does it mean when someone has an internal locus of control? What does it mean when someone has an external locus of control? So I want you to explain those, and then the benefits of both. So we'll just talk kind of about the benefits of both because I didn't say that yet. But if you can just think for a little bit, what would be the benefit? Well, here's a statistic, is that, and then we'll talk because it's not quite as simple as it sounds, but most owners of companies have an internal locus of control. So most wealthy people tend to have an internal locus of control. Now, at first, you might think, well, maybe it's the internal locus of control, them thinking that they can control their outcome or control their destiny, that makes them be wealthy. And that could be part of it. And probably, it almost certainly is part of it. But it also could be that people that are wealthy or own companies are more likely to believe that they are the ones that caused that to happen, rather than that there was a lot of fortunate circumstances that led them to that. But believing that you're in control does tend to make people be more motivated, which can be a good thing. And more successful people tend to be more internal with their locus of control. But that doesn't necessarily mean that's what got them there. It could be just more of like a defense mechanism to say, I'm the one that it caused this to happen. On the other side, the good thing about having an external locus of control is when bad things happen, you don't have to blame yourself. You can be more easygoing. You can say, yeah, well, yeah, I'm successful, but you can be humble about it. You can also, if something bad happens to you, you don't have to say, I'm the one that made this bad thing happen. You can say, sometimes bad things just happen, and that's just the way the world is. So I want you to answer those questions, and that is it for the day. So nice and short. And I'll see you again on Tuesday. Although we will have a Zoom call at 1:30 today, which is Friday. So 1:30 Zoom call. Be there if you can, but if you can't, that's okay too. It's just a time to just kind of connect and ask any questions that you have.